Hi, welcome to Ask a Scientist. Our question this week is, does fracking cause earthquakes? So fracking is actually called hydraulic fracturing. It's short for that. And what they do, oil and gas companies will put water down into the subsurface, into the ground to help break up the rocks and pull out the oil that's down there. So that does cause some earthquakes, but they're usually not felt and they're often, pretty small. There was a magnitude 4 in Texas in 2018 that was one of the largest earthquakes caused by fracking itself. What causes most man made earthquakes or induced earthquakes, especially what we've been hearing about lately, is actually the wastewater injection. So, after they pull the water and the oil and all the stuff out of the ground, there's leftover water. And so they inject that back into the ground into these wastewater disposal wells. And so injecting into these wastewater disposal wells happens over a longer duration, and there's a lot more water that's injected in there over the long term. This means that it changes the pressure in the rocks and it can change it over a much larger area than when they're doing hydraulic fracturing. So, wastewater injection is actually the culprit for causing a lot of these induced earthquakes, particularly in places like Kansas, northern Texas, and Oklahoma. It's important to note most wastewater disposal wells don't cause earthquakes. It's a combination of factors as to whether or not wastewater disposal wells will cause earthquakes. And I'll include more information about that in the comments. And you can also go to the USGS to find out a lot more about induced earthquakes and wastewater disposal. Remember, if you have a question, ask a scientist.